she has this business on importing coffee machines from China to Kenya. And that must be a huge challenge for like anyone. Like, how did you have this idea of starting this business?
I go to Kenya quite often. Also, I have lived there, and just one day I hadn't been to Kenya in 6 months, and when I went there was an explosion of cafes.
Wow.
So automatically I knew this is a trend, and I looked at the price of coffee. Like when I say coffee, like cappuccinos, lattes, mocha lattes, all these things, and people were paying crazy prices for this. So I just went to the store that same day and looked at what's the price of coffee machines, what they were being selling for, and I took down all the names of the different companies, went online to check their import prices, and I saw a big gap between the price people were paying and what was being sold wholesale. So it was an opportunity to get into this market very fast.
Yes, like you just had the idea, like no one told you about it. Like, you just had the insight, and that was it. Or like someone was like mentoring you before. Did you have that before or not?
No. I think it's just. I think in business you always have to keep your eyes open and look at trends.
Yeah.
And business is all about behavior of people, their likes, dislikes, and it's also about the psychology of people, basically, the movement of the majority. So when I saw that, it was like a no-brainer. So I had to verify, of course, but it wasn't that easy because the first time that I did it, of course, I was so excited. Oh my god! And
like I found the thing.
That's the thing. Super, super excited. And then I found a supplier of the coffee machines. He was selling it dirt cheap, so I was very excited because my profit margins would increase from Malaysia. But I got scammed because the company never existed.
Wow.
Yeah, so I paid for a sample of 10 coffee machines to be sent to Kenya, and I flew down to Kenya from Toronto, and I was waiting there. That day it was supposed to arrive, and it never came. So the company never existed. I lost my money. I was depressed for about 3 to 4 days because I felt really stupid.
And it happens to a lot of different kind of businesses because we cannot have like all the information right away.
Yeah.
That's why like building a business is building a business with decisions that we get from not all available information possible.
Exactly. And that was the first time I got into the import market. So the great thing about being young is you're really ambitious.
Yeah.
And at the same time you can be naive and very innocent.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But as long as you have that drive to let me just try this. But if you fail, do not stop, because it was the biggest disappointment business-wise in my life, but it was also the best lesson I've ever learned.
Yeah, there was like one guy, I think was Paulo Coelho, Brazilian author. He wrote The Alchemist. It's like an amazing book. But before he was published, he went to 40 different publishing companies, and all of them said no. So like just like keep going, right?
Yeah, you have to keep going. Like you have to keep going.
Yeah. What was the like other mistakes that you did in your business, or the challenge that you had in bringing this coffee machines to Kenya?
I would say the biggest challenge was something to do with my personality. I can be very trusting, and I didn't realize that I can be a very trusting person. And in business, you have to, it's not that you should not trust people, but you should always verify. And not verify once, but verify 5 times.
Wow.
And get reviews, talk to previous customers, and talk to the person as though you don't even trust them. You have no idea who they are. So that's what I had to do.
Most people think that building a business is risky, right? And you need to have like a very strong mentality to do that, like very, very strong. Did you have I don't know if you had like support from everybody around you, like if your family was okay with it, Like, how did it work for you?
All my friends thought I was like a lunatic, crazy. But my mother supported me. But she supported me to an extent, because when I told her, oh, I finally found a manufacturer that I trust, they were very skeptical because I had been scammed before. So I got my brother to also talk to the supplier through Skype. I got my stepfather to talk to him. I got my mother. Even after all that, they still didn't believe me. Yes. And then somehow I convinced my brother to come to Hong Kong to meet the manufacturer with me. And so he came with me, and we got to meet the manufacturer.
So like lesson here that you can see from that, double checking your partners. Like, you like really like triple check if you need to.
Oh, you have to quadruple check. You have to.
And that's probably especially in developing countries, because in Brazil we have a lot of scams too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's I mean, there's a lot of people who are trying to get rich very quick. There's a lot of people who are they will say, oh, I'll help you out, but you have to help me out. But the way they want you to help them out can be something you're not willing to do. So you also have to be very careful when you ask for help. Mm-hmm.
And I think like one of the things in business, like to really grow and succeed and flourish, is to find people that are like-minded. They can actually share like similar stories to you, and feel like comfortable sharing even like numbers or strategies. Like we were in a camp here in Lithuania, and that's exactly what we did. So how was important that to you, if you see like before the camp and right now, what changed in your head in finding this kind of people that can support each other?
I'll say the biggest thing that I felt, like in terms of emotionally, was I have this quote, you know, many people have heard it numerous times, where if you're in a room and you're the smartest person in the room, you need to get out fast. And I never really understood that quote until I went to this camp, because you need to surround yourself with people, not that they're smart, let's say what you're interested in, because you may have an interest in business, but you need to surround yourself with people that have an interest in so many different things that you have no idea about. So you can constantly learn from people. Because if you're in a room and you're the person that, you know economics, you understand business, you know about, central banking, you know about the monetary system, you know about agriculture, you know so many different things, and you're the only person in that room that has so many varied experiences, you need to get out. Find people that that are a lot better. You talk to a lot of people and ask them their advice on business and all these things, and I found there were very few people that were, when I asked them what helped you in business, very few people talked about the spiritual aspect of it, like in terms of having a certain type of characteristic traits. So I felt that in business, you need to be a person of integrity. You need to be a man of your word. Exactly. That is so important. That is like the bloodline of your business, because reputation, it takes a long time to build up. If you break someone's trust, if you're not a person of your word, you break that overnight.
One thing that really impressed me about Seiyn is not only that she's doing like a very interesting business, and it's challenging. And she told me a story about, she was born in a tribe in Quênia, and they have some kind of ceremony for the guys to step out the village and become a man. And that's something that we don't have normally in our culture. Like, especially in Latin America, you can save for family until your 30s, 40s, and like that's how it is.
Well, the tribe I come from, it's the Maasai tribe in Kenya, and they're one of the few tribes in the world that are indigenous. Indigenous meaning that they live the same way that they have lived for the last 2,000 to 5,000 years.
Wow.
So one of the traditions for the men is when you turn 16, you're supposed to go out into the wild and survive for 3 months. And
that's hardcore. That's
yeah,
hard.
Yeah, that's extremely hardcore because you're not taught, oh, this is what you have to eat to survive. I was very fortunate to meet somebody that came back from that 3-month journey. And this guy, like, if you saw him, he was ripped. Like, when I say ripped, like, it looked like he had been in the gym for 3 months.
Wow.
Every single day, like, bench pressing. And I was like, in my head, you know, I was like, if you're out in the wild, you're starving. You're supposed to come back, like, so skinny, you know? But I was like, whoa. So I was asking him, how do you look so, like, wow, you know? And he said, you know, you start, when you're out there and, like, the first couple days, you're terrified. You're absolutely terrified. But imagine you take away any type of technology, what we're used to, phones, internet, interactions with other people, and you're just out there with nature. Your hearing, your eyesight, your sense of smell becomes so sharp.
And we are talking about Kenya, so like you have lions, you have like very dangerous animals right there.
Yeah, you're out there with lions, cheetahs, hippos. If you go out of your comfort zone, it's going to challenge you in ways that you have never experienced in your life.
And how did he survive?
He said it was based on observation. Because in your mind you're thinking, these animals have lived out here for thousands of years. So if you see a giraffe, and it's a giraffe, they're herbivores. They only eat plants. And the giraffe is avoiding certain types of plants, you're not going to eat that plant. Right?
Dude, that's an amazing insight that he had.
Yeah, I mean, you're trying to, you want to live for the next day. So you just observe the cycle of nature. How do the animals react to their surroundings, and you adapt yourself to that to also survive.
Oh, that's amazing. And that's the thing, like nowadays we don't have this ritual anymore of like you becoming like not a man or a woman, but become like self-sufficient in the world and being able to handle stuff. That's why I think like one of the most important things is traveling. I saw this guy on YouTube and he loves like traveling to Thailand, Southeast Asia, like and everywhere. Mm-hmm. And he does like amazing sculptures. And he was saying like when you get out, especially with creativity, mm-hmm. like you start thinking like really sharp. You start thinking about possibilities and you just grow out of it.
Yeah, oh, for sure. As soon as you get out of your comfort zone, everything that you've been taught, everything that you know, everything that is right and wrong completely has to be challenged, right? Because you're trying to survive. Mm. So when that guy, he relayed his story to me, it was so inspiring because for a lot of young people, we're not challenged in that way, like extreme way. Yeah. And also the fact that he was very young, 16.
Whoa.
You're quite young. You're actually quite young. And there's also that pressure where in 3 months...
Or you go survive or you die.
You survive or you die. Yeah. And there's also that pressure where you want to come back home. You want to prove to everybody, I did it. So I think even just for our generation, a lot of people are very negative. A lot of people will say, oh, you can't do that, you're crazy. And you should use that as your fuel to be like, you think I was crazy? You think I was wrong about doing A, B, C, D? Well, I'm going to prove you wrong. Right?
Wow.
I'm going to prove you wrong.
Yeah, so I think like that was amazing. Thank you very much. And we have some cool projects together.
Oh, for sure.
And you're going to see a lot of this girl. Probably in Brazil too. So
thank you very much. I'm definitely going to Brazil. Like for sure.
For sure. Thank you very much.
6 months.
And see you guys soon.